distance is futile.
So, Si, we're here once again. We've got an RV video to do. It's been a while for you.
I'm scared to ask how many years.
It's not been...
It is. I guarantee it's been years.
Probably has. Well, it's probably a timey-wimey kind of thing.
Are we doing Doctor Who?
Close. We're doing Star Trek. Away missions.
So, the idea of me bringing... was it wasted?
No, I said I wanted you to stay put. Honestly.
Right, fair enough. Come on, right, we'll start again. So it's Star Trek, it's not Ghostbusters.
It's not Ghostbusters. Not this week.
Is it next week we're doing Ghostbusters?
It depends if they bring something new to do with Ghostbusters out.
I thought there was a film coming out.
There's a film, but we don't tend to do film reviews. I mean, we barely do game reviews.
Well, that's true. It's been a long time since we've done any kind of review. But, yeah, okay, Star Trek.
So, the one thing that Simon and I do agree on, generally speaking, is Star Trek. And between us, probably more so me, pretty much every game, be it board game, role-playing game, or computer game and console game, has passed through these little paws. Not all with great success.
No, but you're good at telling me which ones to get and which ones not to get.
And we generally play them, and the ones I think you're going to like, you do, and the ones that I think are a bit naff, you kind of go, why are we playing this? What's this got to do with Star Trek?
I know, and to be honest with you, that's actually what my thought was with regards to Star Trek Away missions. What's it all about? And why is the Battle of Wolf 359 so important?
Well, Wolf 359 was the big fleet engagement to stop the Borg cube coming into 001, Locutus of Borg, because the Borg are bad, obviously. But a bit like the Daleks, they're not as bad as they used to be. But Star Trek Away Missions takes us to the decks of the ruins and hulks which litter Wolf 359 as the various factions take part in boarding actions to look for things and do stuff. I don't think we need to get more technical on that because they're basically looking for things and doing stuff.
How many Federation ships were actually destroyed in the battle?
Roughly off the top of my head, because it's been a while, I think there were either 20 or 22 ships formed the Federation fleet, and pretty much most of them were mincemeated.
Yes, and they were all different classes, weren't they? Red Galaxy and all like that.
And whatever models they could stick together to create types that didn't exist.
Yep, that's very true.
How many ways can we reconfigure a Galaxy-class model to make a different version of a ship? Away missions, though, is small scale. You are a small team of people and you'll be going on board the ship and you'll be doing stuff. This is the core set. We'll make it straight for a start, which is always a bonus. And we'll take a little dive inside the box. Federation versus the Borg. So, it made a farty noise.
If anyone's ever going to make a noise, that would be you.
Quite often, Bob calls it our unique Weegamers language. The first thing we come to, of course, when we see them through the lid, is the miniatures. And right from this was announced, the miniatures have been both loved and hated in equal measure. There were people that really turned off straight away as soon as they seen them. Yeah,
I've been actually trying to figure out what type of miniature you would call that. It's not your standard 28mm. The features are exaggerated, but what I have, that's exactly it. Now, what I've had people tell me is they are good when painted. These seem to be miniatures that need the love of paint.
Yes, in fact, the fan base has already put up quite a few. Gale Force 9 have shown quite a few paint jobs, which is the turning point for me. I've seen the paint jobs and went, okay, the sensation of sickness in my mouth has gone away now. I'm going to look more sensibly at this. But yeah, it seemed to be the bone of contention that they're not 28mm. I think they're closer to 32 or 35. We could have brought a tape measure, but we didn't.
I think they're probably 32, or what did you used to call it? Heroic 32, which is slightly bigger than 32.
Yes, kind of. Chunky.
Chunky.
They are chunky. The bodies, I think the main thing that I've sort of seen the commentary about is that the bodies are fine, but the heads are a bit enlarged. I'm just going to move that mouse before you sit on it.
What was the miniature?
Yes,
Yes.
or with your hand and pause everything.
Oh, I wouldn't do a thing like that.
We're going for a netted free run tonight.
Yes.
So yeah, the heads are a little bit big for some people's taste, but as Simon has quite rightly said, the win for these miniatures seems to be once they're painted, they actually look really nice.
Now, I know you said big head. They're definitely not the level of a chibi.
No. They're not ridiculous. My own 10 cents. And this is my own 10 cents, is that obviously Modiphius have a license for doing a Star Trek role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
They have done 28mm miniatures,
Yep.
and would probably be not best pleased at another license getting the rights to do 28mm miniatures.
Yes.
So a bit like when Games Workshop got Lord of the Rings, it was a different scale. So these are perfectly nice miniatures in a different scale and with something to make them stand out against everyone else's figures. So I think you've got Locutus and a couple of the Borg drones there, and there's the likes of Riker and of course Worf with his Bathlaff.
Mm-hmm. I was actually checking. Do you notice that that's got like an imprint of a nice base? The other ones are like
tells you who they are.
Tells you how they are.
The Borg ones are kind of, because I think, again, I haven't read anything to tell me this is factual, because the Borg tend to assimilate everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere they walk gets Borgified. So they're taking over everywhere that they're kind of going.
It could also be the fact that these are unnamed. No, let's see. What's that say?
Well, one of them should be Locutus.
Right, okay. And we got two. Oh, they are named 2 and 5 and 3 and 1. Okay, so every single one of these miniatures has a name on it.
Yeah.
Easy recognition of who the person is meant to be.
And I suppose the other flip of the coin too is that Federation flooring, generally from what we can see, it's carpet. It's like office block carpet tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really an awful lot to distinguish it there. So you've got your Federation away team, you've got your Borg away team, and that's it. You're ready to go. We've got our bespoke dice and our... Oh, no, it's not bespoke as such, actually. Sorry. It's got the symbol, the faction symbol on the 6, I believe. Yes, it is. So we've got our Borg symbol there, and we should have the Federation symbol.
Yeah.
Just there.
Yes. So what is it? 5 dice each?
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Or it's 6 there. Can't remember. How nice they look.
6 dice each. Yep.
So we've got our quick start guide,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got our rule book. Our quick start guide will do the normal thing. So there's your characters all named, all your icons spelled out for you, I suppose.
No, first off, I love the layout of it.
Well, it's the one thing Gale Force 9, generally you can't complain about the rule books in terms of the layout and the pictorial examples.
Yeah, in other words, it's thankfully they're not Fantasy Flight.
Some companies don't do rule books the way rule books are best done.
Exactly.
So you get your little how to read a character card, your little play area, little mission, boom, 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 how to activate a character. It literally walks you through all the very basics and then beam up and brief. 3 rounds. The game is played over 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Round 1, round 2, round 3, go home. So it's not going to take all night.
Yes, what's the average game time then?
I think once you're up to speed, it's like 30 minutes. It probably said it on the box, and we should have probably read that first. Here's the box. 2 players, 60 to 90 minutes, ages 14 plus. Okay, 60 to 90 minutes. Your main rulebook then is a repeat, pretty much of the same sort of thing, but you get extra rules, the aftermath, you get the background story there of everybody, you get to see the other factions that currently exist.
That's a nice touch.
Yep. Here's something you've bought. Why did you buy something else?
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time I was seeing somebody doing a wee
Games Workshop.
Sorry.
Listen, there's no point. It's your own magazine. You might as well advertise what you're doing. So runs through in much more detail what a mission card does, equipment card. There's your rounds. So there you go. Preparation, round 1, round 2, round 3, beam up and debrief. And that generally is your playing area. So it's a busy little play area for one person. Because you've got all your characters that you're in charge of, then your equipment, your mission deck that you can draw from, your equipment deck that you can draw from, and your discard piles from them, as well as the core mission. So you've got a core mission of what this story's about tonight, and then little missions that you can play to score extra points if you've got the time and the resources to try and complete them. And that could be getting 2 characters to 2 computer panels and, you know, turning them on, essentially. Downloading data from the core. This is one of the first times I've seen Star Trek people doing Star Trek things.
My goodness, it nearly reminds me of that project, the Star Trek project we were working on.
Yep, exactly. And it's about time that somebody actually started doing Star Trek-y stuff. Because, you know, this is the point that you and I argued over whenever we were toying with it. You go to one extreme, you've got like Amarillo Design Bureau, Starfleet battles.
Yes.
And it's all war. It's shooty, 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 boom, boom, boom. How much kill can we do?
But that's not what Star Trek is about.
And you come right down to the other end of the scale to a pure card game. And I think it was Star Trek 5-Year Mission was the first one that you and I both agreed, you know what, even though we're just rolling dice and placing them here, this actually feels like we're doing something Star Trek-y. There's a bit of diplomacy going on. There's exploration going on. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
It had a nice wee theme to it.
Yeah. So I think we've got a bit of a halfway house here. You could well have missions. I haven't read them. I haven't opened the decks on them. You could well have missions that are going to be very sort of acquire things, find out information, do stuff. But as a consequence of you going and doing that, you're going to end up having a shooting fight with somebody or running around in hilarious manner trying to avoid people. Come back here till I hit you with my bat'leth. So it's tile layout. Double-sided tiles. Haven't actually got a proper look at them yet.
Hold on.
But it looks like we only get 2 sets of tiles. Got a spare piece of cardboard. So here we go. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take these out for a second. Yep. We'll set that aside for a minute.
So the tiles here, you said they're double-sided, but I take it, yes, two different
places.
Yeah, so that there looks very Federation.
Yep, I think this is obviously an engineering deck.
Yeah.
So we've got our warp core, we've got a storage area, a command console, a science station. So that's kind of the bit in the Next Generation where there's normally like a picture of the Enterprise on the wall behind them. And they stand here and they talk and they break things and they do mad stuff. Over here is usually where Geordi rips computer chips out of the wall and tries to fix things. And somewhere around here is where red shirts generally die. But they've got a nice little office suite added to it.
Well, that's where you go when your part's over.
Yeah, that's it. Extras.
That looks Romulan to me. I might be wrong. No, not Romulan. Sorry, that Romulan is expansion. That's Borg.
That's Borg. Definitely.
So you're definitely dealing with Federation and Borg tiles. So they must represent the Borg itself.
You're going to have the big Borg cube. Yep.
Yeah.
Unimatrix or whatever. So now we've got a medical turbo lifts. So there's turbo lifts.
That's good.
So you're obviously able to dart, I imagine, between rooms rather than floors, since it all happens on one deck. So we've got our sick bay, we've got our office.
They might be starting points or something like that.
Could be.
But it'll be interesting. Yeah, there's a sick bay.
We've got our captain, or our...
crew quarters?
Crew quarters, yeah. Presumably for the dock or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks again fairly much like you would have seen it laid out in next gen type of stuff. And then on the back of this, we have
same thing, crew quarters, but it's Borg.
But Borgified. Okay. Someone didn't put the thing on silent. Bing.
I know.
So transporter room. So I would imagine, generally speaking, this is where Federation people are going to appear, or whoever else. What have we got here? Biology lab, science lab, and an armory.
So again, as I say, you can see that they've clearly put markings on to represent
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's space for 6 people there.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of cute, and looks more like a Borg kind of bridge here. There's a lot of busy stuff going on here.
Yeah, you see command, medical. What's that? Operations, science. Yeah, that looks like, well, it says the science lab, but you can see very clearly that that's like the core area of the Borg.
And they've got their transporter pads around outside edge. Ah, there's the bridge.
And that is...
So that's like you and I talked about. You've got your, well, it's not probably relevant in this. You've got your bridge.
But I do it like that.
You've got your briefing room.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the captain's office, his ready room. Probably the WC's around here somewhere.
But you know what? It's a nice bridge.
It is.
And it's definitely based on the Galaxy class.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's where Worf...
Yep. Or Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar, yep.
Her old Tasha Yar. Justice for Tasha. I'm not sure what part of the Borg ship that is. It looks like that's their command deck, because that looks like it's supposed to be view screens.
Exactly.
There's a lot of operation, science, and command going here. So I'm going to probably say that each tile is its counterpart on the other side. That would make sense.
But that seems to be where it's going with regards to this.
That's quite pretty. I've got to say, I'm liking the Federation sides more than I'm liking the Borg sides. I don't know why.
Well, if you think about it in the series as something, I guess, when the Borg are on, it's normally just a corridor with all the stations. I think we haven't really seen that much of the Borg.
No, little bits of corridors. Though I do love that thing you're talking about, that scene of the like impossibly long corridor, because it always reminds me of, what was it, Forbidden Planet? Remember that really old sci-fi one where they go down underground, that's the huge machines and they just stretch on forever.
Exactly.
So there's your dice board. This is where you'll do your playing off against each other, because it's whoever rolls highest. So if you're attacking me but I manage to roll higher, then it's blocked along the way. That sort of thing. We've got corridor section, main corridor. And there we've got a bit of a Borg corridor as well.
So these are add-ons to the basic.
So these are going to be our link pieces.
Sorry, add-ons links. Yep. There's a standard.
So there's more turbo lift. So I imagine there's something in this probably about blocking off doors
there you go.
That are going nowhere. And we've got Borg recharge stations.
Same thing on the other side.
Yep.
And that must be a Borg corridor.
Yep. Okay, that's quite nice. Oh no, we've got a page of tokens. So we're upside down. So yes, there's your command activated, so you know you've used them. If somebody's obviously stunned, there's an effect. Take cover. So again, we're playing effects here. We've seen this in other games, obviously. Lockdown. Don't know what that's going to be about.
But you know what? The one thing I do like is the setup of them. You know, there's nothing there that is complicated in any way. It is what it is saying.
They're nice, clean, and you can see them.
Yeah, nice, clean, and I can see them.
And I like the fact that these obviously are for going around the base of a miniature, so they're going to be snugger. You can probably set it on the base. Bonus actions. I seem to remember there's something about once you, and you'll maybe remember which game this works in, once your faction has less models than the other faction, you get bonus counters. So that the people you've got left can take like an extra bonus action or two to try and keep you in the game or in the fight. Okay, that's nice. Right, so that's pretty much all our token stuff, token gestures. So we're down to our tray, and I'm glad to see we've actually got a tray. Can't fault that.
Now, the first thing I have to ask, because it hasn't been said yet, what is the retail price of this? The main box?
Yes. It's a sum of money. Desperately trying to remember. I'm going to say it's less than 50. I think it's in the 40 mark.
Well, I will say now that is something that we're going to find out what the retail price is.
I'll just Google it.
Yep, and I will say I'm saying 70 quid. Which chances are maybe up to 75, 80 quid or something like that. It's just simply to do with the quality of it. And
take good note here, Gibber's name. He's quoting what he thinks this is worth and probably what he's prepared to pay for it. So duly note. Okay, so the expansions core game, 34 quid, in and around the 34 quid mark.
Okay, I'm in shock. Yes, I know the issue might with regards to the models, and again that's fair enough. But what
there is somebody selling it on eBay for 89. They obviously listened to your review.
Well, I'm not saying that's recommended retail price. Versus actual price?
Yeah, I mean, there's the likes of Firestorm Games and Zatu Games. We all know that there's places that are going to be a few pounds cheaper. I think the expansions are supposed to be around the £24 mark. I think this is supposed to be around the £40 mark. So within a few pounds of that, if you're prepared to shop around, you're obviously going to save a pound or two if you need to.
Well, I will say now, I am quite surprised at that kind of price. If it is indeed around the 40, I think it's, from what I can see before we go into the components, I would say it's worth it.
Well, you know, you look at what is it, Browncoats and Brigands. Look how we were blown away by the content there. The fact that the terrain is your storage devices for the components, blah, blah, blah. And again, the price tag for that. The original Firefly, and indeed its expansions, wasn't through the nose for prices. And even Star Trek Ascendancy. And
on Firefly, do you know that people are starting to get their Kickstarter?
Have you seen how big that box? That's like ridiculous.
Yep. Now, the argument is, did I just buy the box, or is there something more than just that empty box coming?
There's another review coming whenever Simon's parcel arrives, and the review will either be of an empty box, into which we'll put everything that he owns for the game, which is everything that you can buy, or it'll be unboxing everything for the game that he already owns anyway for the second time.
Well, again, it's nice. I know we're taking away with regards to this, but it's nice when you've got something quality coming.
Yes, absolutely. It does look to be, and I love the fact it's done like a chest.
Yes.
As well, it actually looks like one of the sort of luggage chests or whatever. So what have we got here? We've got our crew cards. These are quite solid.
Surprisingly solid, and
I was expecting paper. Right, those are your stat points,
which seem to go in
little plastic studs that you can stick into holes.
Yeah,
like the old Mastermind game.
Yeah,
I love it already. So we have. Oh, you can. We'll have to obviously read the rules properly. You can either improve them or they can take quite a lot of damage, but they never go down less than 1.
Yeah, this is an unboxing, not actually a playthrough.
Or a review. It's just us going, hot, shiny.
Yeah, well, you can see now I've got the Borg here, and you've got 2 of 5.
Do you want to bring them over a bit?
2 of 5. There we go. 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and obviously the biggest one, the cutest of Borg. Information on the back.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. It's lore type information.
Yeah, Shelby's here. Remember the Borg specialist?
Yep.
William T. Riker. Fear is the true enemy, the only enemy.
She becomes an admiral.
That's right, Admiral Shelby. Yeah.
And the question is, did she live or die in that last episode?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Anyway, back to the point of this. These are. I was expecting paper. To be honest, I was expecting paper, and if there was tokens, it was going to be tokens that you just set on top of it and slid off or whatever. So to get quite sturdy card tokens, quite like that. I'm going to offer a point of potential concern. That box is full now. Because there's a little tray underneath.
Yep.
And that stops. And we've got 4 expansions over there.
Look, we'll see what happens. We'll open 1 or 2 of the expansions and see if there's space for them.
I'm just saying.
Look, again, as it says, look at these. These are not characters.
Oh.
These are different.
What are these?
Something to do with the Borg.
Those must be the Borg drones. That's your Borg drones.
Well,
because they're all kind of standard, aren't they?
Well, remember, these are the Borg.
Ooh.
These are something else to do with the Borg.
What happens if you pop that out?
Well, something else goes here. Obviously, that's not part of it. So
that pops out.
Oh, hold on. I don't want to rip anything.
We've discovered things.
No, it did. No, that's one. Yep. You have to watch out. You have to watch out for.
So all I'm thinking is, oh my word!
There you go.
No. We're guessing here. We could have stopped and read the rule book, but I'm guessing you can assimilate people. Assimilate.
Yep.
Assimilate people.
Well, you should do. That's what the Borg do.
I don't know why I'm happy. We might be wrong, but that's class. If that's what that is, it's an assimilation. Yeah, of course it is. You're able to assimilate other people.
Right.
Awesome.
That's a nice, interesting touch.
Still say there's not going to be enough space for the expansions. Do you want to open the Borg starter deck? I'll open the Fit. Oh, and there's a support deck for each. Right, okay, yes. So, these are always fiddly. There we go.
I know where I meant to open it from because that's there, but
I kind of went sideways on it.
You see, I don't want to ruin it.
Use these cards for your first games. Once you have played a few games, open the other deck of cards and start customizing your deck.
Okay.
So, no, that'll be the same for that one.
Oh, but yeah, got you now, Borg starter. So these are your basic.
Right. So we got support cards, and they're kind of gold coloured. So they're equipment and stuff that can help you. And then we've got mission cards, and as far as I know, on top of your core mission, these are things that you can try to do to gain extra points and win the game.
Yeah.
So some of mine, for example, access the captain's log, take a command skill test at any command terminal. If passed, score this card. So if you had built your little deck of 4 or 5 mission cards, you flip this one over, go, okay, we can do that. That's nice and easy. Scored that, set it to the side. Off I go with the next one. Access engineering log. Take an engineering skill at any operation terminal. If passed, score this card. And that's an easy 10 points gain as well.
So what you're basically saying is it's getting you to go somewhere, right? And if you're able to do the skill test on it, you're awarded points.
Yeah. I mean, here's a different one. Neutralize threat. Interrupt. Score this card when your character incapacitates or neutralized a hostile character.
Right.
So there's a few of those. Prepare assault teams, quick reflexes. So there's a nice little mixture. It's wartime conditions, not interrupts. There's cards that you'll be able to play in your opponent's turn, obviously. Cards that you'll play in your own. And then these support cards, then we'll take a look at yours. Set phasers to kill, so that makes you a bit more dangerous. An event.
So I'm seeing that the pictures that you're using are taken from, or seem to be taken from, the series rather than just graphical representations.
It's a bit like the Doctor Who Time of the Daleks. So,
nice.
And it's another way of connecting. If you have a growing fan base of board gamers who are collecting these things not because they're board gamers, because they're fan of an IP. So, if you've bought everything you can buy to do with Doctor Who, oh, look, here's a game that's got nice pictures in it and nice miniatures. I'll buy that as well. Again, Star Trek people are going to look, I remember that episode. I remember that episode. This is awesome, blah, blah, blah. So it makes sense rather than using some sort of generic art or paying somebody to paint a picture when the IP is there to be used. Though, of course, it's all next generation stuff, but we'll come back to that. So I'm tempted not to open the support deck, partly selfishly not to spoil it for ourselves now.
Truthfully, I don't think we need to, because again, very quickly, if you want to put them down, we have the Borg. That's the Borg missions.
Yeah, okay, so we will adapt. Score this card at the end of the game if you have 6 or more adapt tokens. Biological distinctiveness. When you assimilate a hostile character, we're right.
Right.
Okay, that's good. Analyze command capability. Take it. So it's the same sort of stuff. The Borg are either trying to find out your capabilities and go back and report it, or they're trying to actually take stuff over or people over or stop you doing a thing.
Yeah.
Connect nodes, establish a gateway. And again, lots of nice relevant artwork there. Adapt to block the phaser fire.
So the next one is the Borg support deck.
Okay. Again, we've got I'm liking the fact that it's got a stylized, the way the computer screens work on Next Generation, so it's got that kind of theme to it.
And that is exactly what I like about it. It's got that Next Generation theme going on with regards to it.
Yeah, it's okay. Eliminate threats, event card, event card, event card. Equipment card, a simulation armature. What's your big arm for firing out the tubes to get people? So that's nice. It's nice. Again, they're nice and clear. They're not too cluttered.
Color coded.
Yeah.
Events are. Is that a blue or?
Equipment seem to be orange. Events seem to be blue.
Or
permanent events. Well, still an event, so that's blue as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's a nice colour code there, the only thing that jumps out at me about that is you're obviously going to have to read. There's no sort of symbol for if somebody was colour impaired. You're not going to look at that and immediately distinguish a difference between the two unless they've thought out the colours that they've chosen. Because I'm not aware fully on the effect of colour.
Well, we've got somebody that we can go to.
We can show them to Justin.
Yeah.
Violets are blue, roses are grey. We're not belittling people with colour impairment, by the way, but Justin's quite funny about stuff. Like, I love that yellow wallpaper. It's green, mate. Not to me, it's not. And then these are little mission cards. And the winner of this year's Golden Globes. So we've got quick reference.
So,
these are your reference cards.
Yeah.
Right.
So mission preparation, scan mission area, choose core mission, beam down, and then shuffle decks. And then the rounds are based on discard unwanted cards. So that's the first thing you do. Draw up to 5 support cards. Draw up to 5 mission cards. Clear the board. Assign action phase. Assign bonus actions. Roll for first activation. First player activates a character. Takes 2 actions. Opponent activates a character. Takes 2 actions. Then it's saying repeat 7 and 8 until all characters are activated, then move on to next round. And then it says beam up and debrief, play end of game missions, add up scores, decide winner.
Happy days.
And at the back it's telling you what your actions are.
Yeah.
So your actions consist of move action, attack action, take cover action, special action, draw support card, discard and draw mission card. Then, we were talking earlier on, you will have skill tests, either opposed or unopposed. Again, they will be based on rolling a dice, extra rolls, backup, and discard to re-roll.
Okay, cool.
Very straightforward.
Mission-wise, we've got four core missions. That's it. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I don't know whether it's limiting or not. I'm guessing that with the huge amount of submission cards, that's where the big variation comes in the gameplay. So overall, big mission, and then lots of smaller changes that you can do to sort of refine your gameplay. I'm going to make a guess now that we get more core missions relevant to the factions in their expansions.
And I would agree with you with regards to that. Remember that this is a game that's coming out for whatever reason around 40 quid.
Yeah.
Bang for buck. You know, again, what kind of entertainment do you expect for 40 quid?
Well, that's very true. That is very true. I mean, so far, given everything there is, the quality of the parts and all the rest of it, I'm quite happy with that. It's really odd that they went to the bother of all the recessed areas for everything, and then there's not a lip or something to just keep the mission cards. They kind of sit there, but I don't think they do on purpose.
That's a wee bit surprising because, again, you were quite clear with regards to the recesses.
Yeah.
You know, and you would think that one of them would have been a recess for the mission cards.
Well, obviously, there's a recess for all the tokens once they're punched out.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, the intention is that... Well, no, let's see. Just satisfy my curiosity here. Can we pop that in? We're still going to be putting in our base boards.
Yeah.
Sans the tokens. The base boards go in. I was sort of thinking, is it a case that the trays come in and sit? There's probably going to be a storage issue. That's usually my only bugbear with anything, no matter how good a job you've done, storing all the expansions becomes a bit of an issue. But if that's the only issue, it's not a major one.
No, I would agree with you on that. I'm having a quick look at the books to see if any of the books give you a setup or something like that. But no, I think it's very straightforward. What you see is what you get with regards to the setup of it.
It's like the Doctor Who game. I mean, you've seen how much I've managed to squeeze into that core box for the Doctor Who Time of the Daleks, including a Pringles tube and little tubs to hold all the wee tokens and things. So, fair enough. If I have to do something creative for this, I'll do something creative for this. Throw us an expansion, Si.
Well, how many expansions are out until currently for this?
I'm glad you asked that question. There happens to be 4.
Oh,
But there's 2 have just been announced and they're up for pre-order. But we'll come to them in a moment once we see what we get inside these.
right. So remove them 2 for the minute because they're different coloured. Red to me says
Do you want
wrong.
to rephrase that?
What did I say?
Moving on. You can open Garon and I'll open the Duras sisters. I love the fact we do no preparation for these at all.
Well, what's the point of doing preparation for an
we
unboxing?
could have cut the plastic at least so that it just pops off magically like they do in those cookery programs. Let's open this box. Boom. Let's cut this carrot.
Is that the ones where this is something I prepared earlier?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do any cooking.
Box of miniatures, and I'd love to do that someday. Box miniatures, you go, now let's get them painted. Click, and they're just painted like that.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that does that.
Probably, and we'll probably hate them. So, okay, this is the House of Duras. For anyone that doesn't know, they're 2 Klingon sisters, and they're quite mean, really.
Right, okay. When did the Duras sisters come into Star Trek? Was it in the series, or was it in the films, or what?
The Duras sisters. Now, you know what my head's like. I'm going to say they appear in The Next Generation. I'm pretty sure they do. They show their heads quite a bit in Deep Space Nine.
Yes. So they were both in Next Generation and Deep Space Nine.
Pretty sure. Yeah. Pretty sure. Could be wrong. If we're wrong, somebody will mention it in the comments in a split second because everyone loves a mistake.
Right. So I was going to say the first thing I see is there's no, but there is. So you go first.
Okay, so
that was a surprise.
We've got a mission card.
Yep.
It's in a bag, but it appears to be 1 mission card. It is 1 mission card.
Right.
So we've got an arms supply deal, which is right up their street, and Restore Honor. Not something I've often found the Duras sisters to be big on, but anyway. We've then got their command cards, the same as we've seen for everybody else.
So there's 4 models. Isn't there 4?
5.
5 models?
Yep,
5 models.
5. And there's little backleth tokens. How cute. I don't know why, but they're there. And there's little, I can't remember the name for the dagger. Q comment in the comments. But yeah, they obviously are a bit fightier and a bit defendier than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a little bit of history on the back.
Yep. And the most important, you should have mission cards and support cards.
And we do indeed. And it's the same sort of thing again. We get our starter deck and our support deck there. I'm feeling that we shouldn't be opening the cards and going through them in too much detail for people because there's probably a bit of a surprise element for unlocking your cards too. And
well, the thing being is, very quickly, I would go with the starter. Remember, we've done it already with the other ones. Stick with your same logic.
Now, I have to say, the head thing doesn't seem as pronounced in the Klingons.
But they are always big-headed.
Yeah, and quite arrogant as well. But I mean, the size of the model's head. And there's the sisters. Our friend Amanda will be quite pleased when she sees these. She's big into the Duras sisters.
Did you dress up as it?
Yes, her and Joanne. I might even be able to find a picture in time to include it in this here if I get their permission.
I never thought there would be anything more scarier.
Teeth and all.
Teeth and all?
Yep.
So we have the Klingon starter deck. We're just going to keep to that because, again, I agree with you. The other deck, keep it as a surprise.
Yeah.
But here we go. We have the support deck for the Duras sisters.
So yeah, we've got the same sort of thing again. We've got events, permanent events, and equipment. So an example of them: Betrayal of Trust, Death Yell, Disruptor Bombardment, First Strike, Mistaken Honor, Taking Credit. That's right up their street. The Power of Duras. And then we've got Sisters of Duras, The Treachery of Duras. It's almost like its own little episodes. Disruptor Rifles. Illicit explosives, poisoned blade, sniper rifle, and weapons crate.
Now you got the mission deck, and it's exactly what you would expect when dealing with the sisters: stealing, bribing, falsifying, and
weapons testing, arranging rendezvous, backroom deals,
dealing,
claim honor,
fake-
fake heroics.
falsify,
Yeah.
and plant something.
Okay, so that suggests there's a lot of variation in what the players are going to have to be doing with their little factions. So that's kind of nice. It's not just rinse, repeat.
No, but in the rinse for repeat, we are still sticking with the Klingons, but this time we've got the Chancellor's miniatures.
Yeah, so same thing again. We've got our set of four figures here.
Yeah, 4 figures. Again, seems to be the same thing. 1 mission card. Yep, there you go. 1 mission card.
Yep. One little mission, Stoic Core and Commandeer Ship. And then we've got our little command boards again too.
Sorry, 4, as you said.
Oh, there's why we're only getting 4. These guys are a bit more powerful than everybody else we've seen so far.
Well, I take it it's him and maybe his honor guard.
His honor guard, yeah.
Now, this time you're only getting
Bathlist.
Yeah.
No dirty knives.
No.
No sneaking around. And again, we've got our decks. Well, just the one solid big deck there for the Klingons. So they're probably expecting that by the time you've bought this, you kind of have figured out, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
No more messing around. I almost said something more inappropriate.
You say something inappropriate? No. What would you like to see next? Picard or the Romulans?
Let's say Picard to the end.
Oh, save them to the end. Right. There we go.
So we'll do our little Romulans. So I think we can kind of rattle through these two now. We don't need to really labour any of the cards. You've got the gist on what the cards are going to give you. What we also have seen is there's no more terrain.
No.
So that starting terrain of the Federation ship and the Borg cube is it.
To be honest, this game is all about the Battle of War. You know, so to my knowledge, the ships that were in that battle were all Federation ships and the Borg cube.
Yep.
So that's why we're probably not requiring anything else. And it's all about people coming afterwards. So the Romulans were not involved in the battle. So this must be about them.
Coming on to next stuff.
Yeah.
Play when a friendly character is neutralised. Clear the card. So I imagine we're going to see lots of sneaking around, stealing information, trying to ascertain strengths and weaknesses. They probably see the Battle of Wolf 359 as a moment where the Federation's at its weakest and a chance to think about a counter-strike to maybe take some territory off them. Always watching assimilation, corrupt the firmware, counter-strike, disable security protocols. Very Romulan flavoured titles for most of these.
Yeah.
It's all boiling down to the same thing. Go to a thing, roll a dice, do a thing. There's a challenge level to it for them. So they're obviously facing a bit more sort of difficulty getting over the computers. And then we're through to things like brainwashing. So they can possibly take over a crew as well on you too.
Yeah, but I'm seeing the game idea in this. You said it from the start. It's all meant to be 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be too complicated.
No, and you're not lingering. You're not hanging about doing a whole pile of stuff. It's get in, do a thing, get off.
Yeah, and you see this quite clearly with regards to the main mission. Now, there's the characters. What are we, 4 or 5?
I think we're on the 5 here again.
Yep,
yeah.
There you go. 5 characters. Should be strong enough.
Yep.
Okay.
And lots of computer messing about because it's the Tal Shiar, whatever, messing around with intelligence and computers. And
yeah, there's again 1 mission card. You can see Borg technology being the big thing, or flip it over.
Tal Shiar operation. If you have 5 or more Tal Shiar mission cards on your scoring area at the end of the game. Yeah, nice. So that's right up their street. So it's discouraging them from open hostilities.
Yeah.
Though that's going to be quite hard in a 2-player game to avoid getting shot at. It'd be nice to see if at a later date it scales up to more players.
It'll be interesting if you can put, well, at the current minute you have 4 factions. Can all 4 faction play? Can you bounce it up to 4-player?
At the minute, the rulebook and the box is 2 players, but yeah, my immediate thought is I'd like to see us going up to 4 factions having out, but I want a bigger battle area for that.
Exactly, and I think that would be a case. Normally, in this kind of situation, 2 starter decks because you get your extras with regards to it, and then add the 2 starter decks together. That's 4 player.
In fact, you've got different decks coming from all the different factions. Nobody's going to be sort of overlapping too much in cards and things. And probably if everyone had a starter set, then you've got any base cards that you're going to need.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our little. Oh, I see 4. There are 4 lights. Open dialogue. So diplomatic mission for him. Beverly Crusher, Geordie LaForge, Jean-Luc Picard, Deanna Troy, and Crusher. What is the boy doing on the bridge?
A character that, either love or hate.
Yeah, I think most people who were sort of fans of the show at the time have come round to appreciate Wesley for what he actually did bring to it. And, he's done lots of good stuff in nerddom since the actor himself. So, yeah, I think it was just that thing at the time. Everyone had to have an annoying teenage brat on their TV show.
Yeah, or had to have an alien stroke android that wanted to be human.
There was often an alien that stroked an android, you're quite right.
Okay, moving on very quickly.
We got some cards, have we, Simon?
Yes, we got cards. We got mission cards.
I got the mission cards.
And we got the support cards.
Arbitration. Baryon Sweep. Covert Field Destiny. Again, we're going to have very thematic and sort of evoking names here. They tie in with the episodes that we'll all be familiar with. And then you're essentially doing the same sort of thing. You're going to a place, you're rolling some dice, you're trying to achieve a target number or not. If you succeed, you've done it, you get a token, you put it in your command card. Mission over. He's got a few interrupts going on here, which is quite right for Picard. May I interject? Interrupt again. I think Q is available as like a convention special thing.
Oh,
he's not just retail available.
Yes, no, that's an interesting thing. Interesting, what some companies do. They make a big thing about conventions they go to, or something, I guess, where they release something that you can only get at conventions. And if that's the case, then fair play to Gale Force 9.
Well, I did manage to eventually get hold of Mal in his pretty floral bonnet, but it wasn't easy to get hold of it. There was two expansions that were convention ones for Firefly, Brown Coats of Brigands.
Yeah, I never really went big into that. I think once they'd done the whole Firefly, the spaceship game, it was a case of I needed to give you a chance to get something.
Something that I could own and say, yes, here, this is mine. So again, there's our Picard with a nice Phaser 2.
I do not dislike the miniatures. I'm looking forward to you painting them up.
There's a bit of a comic book vibe to them.
And I don't think...
And I don't dislike that.
No, and I think to an extent, that comic style of painting would probably work well with them.
Yeah.
To me, the features and other things like that. Look, you see how that's
yep, slightly oversized badge.
Slightly oversized badge. The weapons are oversized. You know what? There's nothing not to dislike about these.
No. And given that you've got such a small faction, in all likelihood, if you and a couple of mates were buying into this, you're going to buy one faction. So you're only ever going to have 5 miniatures to paint. So, these are what you're going to look at. So slightly bigger, slightly easier to paint, room to see more detail on them because they're quite barren. The uniforms for most of the factions are quite plain and simple, really. So there's not an awful lot to go mad on other than a bit of highlighting or whatever. So to make that room to do that work, I think it's a smart move too.
I see a problem. I think there's too many humans. Whatever happened to the diversity of the Federation?
Yeah, well, I think the most diverse the Federation ever manages is in the original series, the animated series, which essentially becomes like the 4th season of Star Trek.
Yeah, how far back are we going?
Oh, the original Star Trek.
Yeah, but the animation
Whenever Star Trek came off the air, then they brought out
immediately.
fairly quickly after. There were 2 seasons, I think, of the animated series. It had all the original cast except Walter Koenig. He didn't get signed up for it, and it was Shatner and I think Nimoy that kind of had to bark to get everyone else involved. Nicole Nicholson, all the rest of it.
And how much was the gap between the end of that and the first film?
Forever.
The motion picture, the kickstarter.
Oh, aye. Well, that you had. It was the space shuttle came along, and then the petition to get it renamed Enterprise and all that kind of stuff. As I say, the next ones that are coming out for this are the original series. You're complaining about more humans. It's 2 more human factions. So you've got Kirk's away team and Mr. Scott's away team.
Okay, here's now where I have a problem with it. Okay, and you're going to tell me how Gale Force 9 solved the problem. So I can see the Romulan expansion, right?
Yep.
Because we all know at the end of that series, we've seen the visuals of the destruction of the Federation ships, right?
Yep.
So you could see how factions took that opportunity to steal technology from the destroyed Borg, or stole it from the Federation. So you can understand that. So I wouldn't surprise me if you see a Ferengi expansion. You've now got the Romulan expansion. You know, there's other ones there I could see, but how are they bringing in the TOS into this?
This I don't get. There's obviously, as there always has been, there's probably a big public pressure to have classic Star Trek represented. Now, my issue as it stands is, what are those classic Star Trek people going to be doing going up against the House of Duras or the Borg or anything else? Why are they running around a next generation starship or a Borg cube? My inside voice says to me, are we going to see something like Star Trek Attack Wing or that, where we see a new core set come out, and the core set's TOS, and maybe it has classic Klingons and classic Romulans in it with new boards, to which your Federation crew now makes sense?
Right, okay. Now, let's say if that was the logic and take it to the next stage, okay? If you were bringing out TOS, right, would you not bring it out as that starter set rather than expansions?
It's a big investment to make a base game.
Not a 40 quid.
Not a 40, but it's a big investment to release that as a product box. And in my head, what it says to me is, if the base sets, if the expansion sets sell well, that would say to me, oh, okay, people are interested in TOS. Maybe we should do a TOS expansion, be it a set of boards, there we go, or a base set, there we go.
What happens to that they're releasing that as separates? Do we know that?
Yeah, the pre-orders are up now, so there'll be 2 boxes they got. They've released the pictures of all the miniatures, and it's Mr. Scott's away team and Captain Kirk's away team. And that represents all of your core bridge crew.
Yeah, and are they releasing boards to represent?
This is the question. This is my $1 million question. There was that initial excitement when I went, oh, class, I'll be able to get TOS. And I went, oh, what am I going to do with them? What's the story that's going to have them facing these guys? Is there something that comes with them that tells us it's a temporal anomaly, it's a mirror universe, it's a whatever? But in my heart of hearts, the only way TOS becomes justified on the table is if we get a TOS base game. And granted, an expansion that is about the mirror universe, time travel, all the rest of it. The beauty of Star Trek is there's so many franchises, there's so many sort of lines to the franchise, so many timelines to explore.
That to me, that sounds like, okay, if there is a need for it, then you set a starter set for each era. So, as you rightly says, TOS, right? Because you're going to have TOS mission cards, you're going to have TOS equipment cards and all this here. And I see that probably coming down the line with regards to it. And if that's successful, then maybe they'll look at the more modern stuff. Again, as I say, how many people loved Voyager? How many people liked what do you call it?
Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Discovery, Strange New Worlds. It all probably depends where the license lies.
Yes.
The fact that we're seeing the next generation in the first release, and we're already seeing the announcement of TOS, it's safe to say that the license obviously covers the next generation and the original series. If it covers the next generation, I'd be hard-pressed to believe that that doesn't probably include Voyager Deep Space Nine as well. A Deep Space Nine set would make sense. You would have your DS9 crew and whatever. I mean, for robbing this Wolf 359, where are the Ferengi?
Yeah, but I have to say to them, I think they have went with regards to what they've listened to in their fan base, rather than what I think would work with regards to what they've already released. The Ferengi, I agree with, and you know what? If they wanted something that's modern and hip and now, why not Lower Decks?
Mm-hmm.
The Lower Decks and the characters that are represented in Lower Decks are not that far wrong from that era.
No.
The Battle of the well, I would say,
you know, there's a crossover episode.
Yes, I watched it and it was really good.
Yeah.
And it's weird when you've got somebody who does the voice becoming actually on the screen. I do like both characters that have done the voices, and now the screen time with regards to Lower Decks.
I've no issue with what you're saying in terms of if it's fan service that they've gone for what they know will sell first.
Mm-hmm.
Totally get that, because you've got to make your money back. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I like a story to make sense, and if we're going to sit with the same 2 sets of boards for every adventure moving forward, that I think is going to tire quickly. It's a bit like maps in Call of Duty. You know, it takes more than 2 maps to make a Call of Duty game work. You've got to have that variation of maps and additional zones, new zones coming up every so often. So maybe that's it. Maybe the TOS stuff coming out is a little bit of fan service. Just say, look guys, there you are. There they are. You can, if you like it, thanks very much. It's been great fun doing this. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
We've given you a core game. We've given you umpteen expansions for it within the first year. Have fun. We'll see you next year. And then they sit back, count the pennies and say, well, yeah, okay, there's mileage in doing something more. Again, Game Force 9 doesn't seem to be a company that sort of sits on its backside and doesn't do something. If we look at Firefly, if we look at Doctor Who, if we look at the support that all those lines got.
Yeah. How much can a company now afford a flop?
No, it can't.
They can't. And that means that they have to do the work nowadays to look at something that they're bringing out that breaks even, or actually makes them some money.
Got to make it some money to get the investors to keep up in faith. They need to make more stuff. So yeah, longevity-wise, this is going to need more maps. The fact of it is, the maps are quite simple. Mm-hmm. And I would say, a bit like Memoir 44 and other games, it probably will only be a matter of time before fans are making their own alternative maps.
Well, the way fans are nowadays, that's something that you need as a company to incorporate into your life cycle of games, and reward and sometimes to reward fans for something that they've created that's more really popular or something like this.
Yep.
And you know what? If Gale Force 9 brings that on board, I think they've actually got a really good winner here.
Potentially so.
Potentially.
On that note, we're nearly approaching the hour, so Sam and I are going to wrap it up now. We've got to get to Betty Buys. Not the same Betty Buys, different Betty Buys, but we have to take him home. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, give us a comment or two in the lines below. Give us a thumbs up if you like. Give us a subscribe if you have time. And we'll later on read your comments about correcting us on the bits we got wrong about Star Trek lore. Like I say, I can't remember everything. In the meantime, live long and prosper for me.
And live very long and prosper for me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.